Hey everybody, it's Brian Rothschild on board the John Lennon Educational Tour Bus. I'm here with Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Fernando Pullum from the Fernando Pullum Community Arts Center. We're parked here at the Fernando Pullum Community Arts Center, spending the whole day and tomorrow working with incredible students here. Got a great session going with Flea, and the producer-songwriter Detail is in the back. Norwood from Fishbone too, so some incredible mentors. How are you guys doing?
Doing very well, thank you.
All right, very good. So I figured we'd start out, since we're here at the Pullum Center. Fernando, tell us a little bit about what you have going on here.
Well, we're in South LA, and it's a extremely underserved neighborhood. So what I'm doing is trying to, we are giving free arts classes to around 300 kids. And it's not about the arts, it's about saving lives. That's what we're endeavoring to do.
Yeah, and that's how we feel also, like on the Lennon bus, Obviously, we're using music and video and production, as the medium, but it's really about giving kids the opportunity to express themselves. That's really what it's all about. Flea, you obviously have spent a lot of your time and energy on music education, advocacy. You have a conservatory, Silver Lake, here in LA. You're working with Fernando here at the community center, also on some new ideas. How did you get into that? What's your background that brought you to that?
Well, I grew up loving music,
Yeah.
and I just love it so much. And when I was a kid, I was kind of a street kid running around getting in trouble. And I went to public school and I learned to play the trumpet, and I wanted to be Dizzy Gillespie when I grew up. And one thing led to another, and I ended up having a career in music, and it gave me a sense of self, a sense of self-discipline, a sense of, something to work on, something to take care of, a whole social, a way to interact with people and make music, and built up a music family through the years. And it's just been a blessing for which I'm so grateful. And I could spend, every waking moment of my life helping kids to learn music and to have that sense of purpose and life-saving that it does, and I would still not begin to pay back, one iota of what's been given to me. So I'm just here to help, and I'm really grateful to Fernando for inviting me down today and to do some work with these kids. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. Seeing a kid, being willing to make themselves vulnerable, to play music and to put their creative selves forward, is just a beautiful thing to see. I just, selfishly, I'm just grateful to be here.
Cool. Happy to have you here too, of course.
And I'm thankful.
Yes, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Yep. So, a lot of our viewers are tuning in right now because we've been running a Q&A with Flea, a little Twitter promotion. So let's jump into that, because you got a lot of questions. Okay. Not surprising.
All right.
Let's see. I guess, before I get into the specifics, a lot of people are asking about the new Chili Peppers record. Mm-hmm. What can you tell us about that?
We've wrote a bunch of songs, and then we're going to record them and put all our heart into it and do our best to, shine a light in the world. That's it. It's all we've ever wanted to do, and that's what we're going to continue to try to do.
Cool. Okay, so I'll just start into it right now. I think I have to take the peepers off for a minute, though. Yeah. So at Joey Chapman wants to know, how does working with different guitarists over the years develop your style, both in the studio and live?
I mean, working with any different musician in any context is going to change the way that you play, because, right, Fernando, when you're playing with other people, it's like it's a conversation. It's not like you just do what you do. You're listening to what someone else is doing and you're responding. Music is a conversation. It's listening and reacting. And so we've had different members, and all with different sets of neuroses and strengths and weaknesses and all the stuff you deal with in any ensemble setting. So I mean, you must see that teaching, with groups of kids, like the way that they don't even realize how they're reacting to other kids around them probably sometimes.
Yeah, we're all therapists.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. But yeah, Chili Peppers, it's always a different thing. We've had some real, great musicians in the band, and obviously, John Frusciante was an incredible guitar player and a real powerful creative force in our band, and I know a lot of people appreciate him a lot. and so do I. And I'm just really grateful to be doing it with Josh Klinghoffer on the guitar now, and I'm really excited about the stuff we've been writing, and looking forward to what we're doing.
Cool. Next one is from Amos at Sir Koosh. He wants to know, what is your favorite George Clinton Parliament Funkadelic song?
My favorite song, all of George's music is like a Bible, you know. It's like picking, I don't know, do people have favorite psalms and verses and stuff? I don't know the Bible, so I can't say. But it's all beautiful, you know. I mean, sure, there are moments, there's great hits and great albums. You know, Hardcore Jollies is a beautiful one, One Nation. But I can't really pick one favorite one. It's all, it would be to diminish the strength of the others, and I don't feel like that would be right.
Yeah. He was just here with us a couple weeks ago, sitting right here, did a session with students too. What a great guy, just gave so much of himself. Fantastic. I'm talking about, you know, George Clinton was back here with us, and we're going to do some more sessions with him. Wait.
Yeah, we're working, you know, George produced the second Chili Pepper record, and we went and lived with him in Detroit, and for a couple of months and made a record, and it was so fun, you know, at United Sound in Detroit, where they made most of the Funkadelic records and a lot of the Motown stuff too. And man, what a great, you know, sometimes you walk into a recording room and you feel it, like the energy in it, like, so it's a sacred thing.
Yep. Wait, at Sir Koosh sent this image of his forearm that has, am I on the right camera here? Should I be over here? Yeah. That has the Chili Peppers logo on it, that he wanted to ask you to sign the palm on that right there while I get the next question.
Yeah, no, and I could never, you know, I'm so grateful to George. He's such a great teacher to me, and he's not only kind and funny and smart and a great personality, but a great teacher without, you know, being pompous about it. He's just a great dude.
Cool. Next question is from at Doodle Bob, who asks, if you could perform with anybody, alive or dead, who would it be?
Well, I kind of, you know, I grew up always, my greatest dream and fantasy was to play with Jimi Hendrix. He was my idol growing up, you know. You know, when I was really young, it was Dizzy Gillespie, the Beatles and Dizzy Gillespie, but Hendrix, you know, for me, it was like, you know, the flamboyance as well as the virtuoso playing and the vision to create, you know, a world of music that was, you know, solely unto him. And yeah, so I guess my answer is Jimi Hendrix.
Okay. Wait, but since you brought up the
How about you,
Beatles-
Fernando?
Oh yeah. What are your influences? Who do you want to play with?
James Brown.
Okay.
Yeah, I played with his band recently at the Hollywood Bowl, and it was the closest I could ever get. But man, I wish I could play with James Brown.
You know, like 8 years ago, the Chili Peppers, we went on tour with James Brown. We actually, this crazy as it seems, we bought James Brown as our opening act.
What?
Because we got, like, at the time we were really big over in England, and we were playing these massive, you know, we played for over like a 3-day thing at this in Hyde Park for like 250,000 people over 3 days.
Wow.
And we were just like, well, who do you want to open? We're just like, well, just threw out James Brown, never thinking in a million years that he would do it.
Wow.
And he did it, and it was one of his last tours before he died, you know.
Yeah, the music is incredible.
Incredible. And his bands are always amazing. Very few bands have that, like, sense of rhythmic togetherness, you know. Like, very few. There are some, you know. Like, I think Sly's band at a certain time had that, you know, that rhythm where you just can't, but it's so uplifting.
You know, I had to look across the stage and say, Harry, man, you guys are so funky. And the guy said, well, we never lose our funk.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just killer.
Yeah. Some bands, it's the rhythm of certain things. It doesn't need to be, you know, the most sophisticated thing in the world. Not saying that James Brown's music isn't sophisticated, but it doesn't need to be to have that power.
Yeah.
You know, there's a rock band I really like called AC/DC, and they play the really simple stuff, but it's just like when they play it, no one else can play it, and it's the simplest thing in the world. But it's like the 4 guys playing it just sounds like one organ pulsating. You know what I mean? It's just this thing, and it's just some people have it. I think it's really like in James Brown band, it's like the army, like they just know they better not mess up.
Yeah.
Those guys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And he was smart. He had like 2 drummers, you know, going at the same time, relieving each other, to keep the energy up and stuff.
You know, they would do 4 shows back to back at the Apollo.
Right.
and we were dying doing one show.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I know, how do you do 4 shows? You know, but you know.
Yeah, I think it's that thing. Like certain musicians, they have that. Like they are literally willing to die.
Yeah.
For the show, for the record, whatever it is, their life is on the line, and whatever, they're just going to go all out every time.
Yeah.
I remember once I saw this documentary, and Branford Marsalis was talking, and he was talking to Elvin Jones, and he was, and they were saying, what was it like, you know, playing with John Coltrane and that famous, you know, the great band, you know, and how did you do it? And he just looked at him totally straight and said, we were willing to die. Mm-hmm. And they were all like laughing, like, ha ha, like, where's the joke? And Elvin was just like, no joke. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
All right, here's a weird one.
Incredible.
This is from @LightsResolve. @LightsResolve. Will you ever reprise your role as a nihilist?
Well, if the Coen brothers ever choose me to act in one of their films again, I will gladly come on down.
Okay.
I really respect those guys a lot. They're great writers and directors, and yeah.
Cool.
Honored to be a part
@LightsResolve,
of
I
it.
asked you a question. There you go. Next one is from, let's see, okay. @Nintendo Nick123. What's the meaning of your song P?
You know what that song's kind of about is, I go up to this place in California called Big Sur a lot. Have you been up to Big Sur?
Yes. It's beautiful.
Incredible, right? It's this beautiful, majestic place, and I'll drive up there from the city, and it's oftentimes I'll go up there, I'll be like, life is getting too overwhelming, you know, I'm like tripping out, you know, my girlfriend, this, and my work, and my band stressing me out, and everything, I'm like, I gotta get away. And I'll drive up, and as I get further away from the city and closer to the nature starts becoming so big, and I start becoming so small. And as I get smaller and the nature gets bigger, I start realizing how little my problems are. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm getting in the presence of something that's truly big, not like, you know, my complicated little life. And I start, you know, feeling small. And so I wrote that song, I'm a Little P, about kind of it being an enlightened state. Yeah.
Cool.
They're like it's just the humble way to be.
Okay. I have one from @BryceQuigHartman.
What's it called?
What did @BryceQuigHartman?
@BryceQuigHart?
@BryceQuigHartman. What did your parents think when you started calling yourself Flea?
That's a good question.
@BryceQuigHartman, that's a good question.
I think that they were just happy that I was doing something productive with my life and not like, you know, robbing and stealing and shooting dope or something. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
You mean in addition to all of that?
They were happy that I was, you know, working on something productive, which was music, you know. Yeah.
Cool.
They worried about a nickname.
I guess @Leah88_31. What is your favorite memory from touring?
You know, there's a million favorite memories. Really, just those moments when really everyone is getting along well and we're really united in our purpose, and you know, really feel like you can live inside the camaraderie and the magic of the group, and you feel like you're so together that nothing can be wrong because you're together and you all believe in this thing. And it's not even necessarily times when we were the most popular or had the most success or even the most fun, but just that sense of unity and togetherness, which, you know, you can never keep it all the time. It's like people are complicated things. But when it's really on and it's really together, you know, that's it.
Cool. Couple more. @Valentina M Music. Who is your favorite classical musician?
I'm really partial to Bach. I was talking to
too.
Charlie Hayden a while ago before he died,
Wow.
and I asked him who's his favorite bass player, and he said Bach.
Really? I love Stravinsky, man.
Me too. I love it. I mean, I listen to. I have a big old box. I listen to it all the time. You know.
Yeah.
I grew up on the Bach.
Yeah, I just. Yeah.
But I play trumpet. You're playing roots and fifths so much, but you're playing those tunes.
Right.
It's so boring. Well, I feel like I have to apologize to all the string players. It's boring to play like Mozart and Beethoven and stuff, to me.
For the horn parts.
For the horn parts,
Right.
because it's, you know, with Stravinsky, you know, and the way they voice it sounds like rock and roll to me.
Right.
You know, when they stack chords up,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I got really into the piano, like the Glenn Gould piano piece, playing the Well-Tempered Clavier and all those fugues and preludes and stuff. Like I just love that stuff. But
You listen to your taste of music when I was over your house, man, was like, I was so fascinated and surprised. It was so eclectic, and I said, man, this guy is a real musician.
I listen to all music.
Yeah.
I mean, and I say all music. I listen to bad music. Like I drive with my kid to school in the morning. She makes me listen to pop music, like the worst pop music you ever heard.
Yeah.
But I grew up loving bebop. That was my first love.
Yeah.
And as a kid, I wanted to be a bebop musician, and then I got into punk rock when I was older.
I'm glad you didn't go stay in bebop.
What's that?
I'm glad you didn't stay in bebop.
Bebop's exciting
It's
still.
great, but still, it's not. You won't reach that audience that you're reaching
Yeah.
now.
Well, it seems like it's. I mean, this as a kid, I was so fascinated with it. Like my stepdad, who was the main father figure that was around, was a jazz musician, and he, had sessions all the time at the house. They would just jam at the house. My mom would cook, and guys would come over and play standards all day, and just be in the living room set up. And I had, never that. I couldn't believe that it was possible to do that. Like if they would have like snapped their fingers and become invisible or turned into elephants, it would have been no more amazing than just playing, Donna Lee. You know what I mean? Like me sitting there, and the cat would like roll around on the floor laughing, like, because I just couldn't fathom it.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's for me.
Yeah.
Like that's where it's at. And that's the, that music, and I know it's like in a lot of ways kind of academic now. It's like kids in college learn it. And,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I have fun doing it.
Yeah, yeah, and I played a little bit here and there, I'm not good at it, but for me, it's just like, in terms of stuff that has gone down, it's kind of the high point of American culture,
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I know I'm gonna get in trouble for saying that, but.
oh no, I get it, I'm right
Yeah.
with you. I get it, it's so small now and almost elitist in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, music is about touching people.
Yeah.
And I don't place more credence in it than I do folk music or blues or hip hop or any music that, you don't have to be as educated, know every, diminished scale in order to play.
Yeah.
But, it still is a real high point of culture. Like when it was happening and when it was a revolutionary force,
Yeah.
like from like Bird or from Louis Armstrong, like from Bird on like through Mingus and Monk in the 60s and, Sonny Rollins' great records and all that stuff, like it's unbelievable that it developed the way it did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, a couple more.
What was the question?
I forget that too now. But wait, here it is. Space Monkey at Nick Malco.
Oh, I know Space Monkey.
Okay, Space Monkey. What camera are we on? Here. Your persistence is paying off, Space Monkey. Space Monkey wrote in like a gazillion questions.
I know, I've seen Space Monkey on Twitter before, so I can give her.
I'm guessing Space Monkey is a girl, but I'm not
Yep,
sure.
Space
She
Monkey,
looks
I'm right with you,
like
sister.
like a pretty young woman.
Okay.
Space Monkey wants to know, among other things, opinion on Fairfax High School. Why do you still continue to follow their basketball team?
Oh wow.
Oh, well, I love being in touch with, I went to school there. The Chili Peppers all met there. It was a huge time in my life where it really shaped who I am, It was a great school. It was, a real mix of all different ethnicities and all different economic brackets and all different types of people. And it was just a great, great place to be. And so now, getting to go back, and I've always been a fan of the basketball program, but I really kind of fell in love with the team they have this year.
Nice.
I just think they're beautiful kids, and I love the way they play together, and they're doing so well, and I just like being a part of it. I like being a part of it, and I love being a part of where I come from.
It's another
Makes
way
me
you're
feel,
supporting young
like
people.
connected
Yeah.
to something that I love. That's all. I love it.
Cool.
Yep.
So I guess I'll finish up. I ask both of you guys, since we're here on the John Lennon Educational Tour Bus. You mentioned the Beatles before, of course. What's your feeling about the legacy of John Lennon? I'll ask both of you guys. Why does it still continue to resonate you know, how did it affect you, that kind of thing?
I mean, when I think of John Lennon, I think of the first thing that comes to mind really is just absolute integrity in music. You know, he was a guy that, and had he lived all this time, it just feels like he's the guy that never would have done anything lame. He never would have sold out to the man. He never would have done the corporate thing. He always would have just played the music that was true to his heart, or not played the music that was true to, or not played music at all, or done whatever he wanted to do. But he was just such someone immediately that I just trust. And his music is, you know, he was an incredible songwriter, and in turn intense and angry and beautiful and forgiving and psychedelic, and then just like simple, great, well-written songs. I mean, the guy was a giant of music, you know. He's someone that I love as much as any musician that I've ever heard, and I listen to a lot of music, you know. And not just because he's famous or because the Beatles are probably the greatest rock band that ever was. You know, they were like a wildly creative, imaginative, great band. Yeah, John Lennon, the name itself, it just packs a punch, and it's just because there's so much history and integrity and strength behind it.
Wow, well said. Really cool.
Well, it's really strange because I grew up in the hood in Chicago, and the people that impacted me the most is really Elvis Presley and the Beatles. You know, they were in my living room, and you know what I'm affected by now is what you guys are continuing to do, to have a legacy as strong as his was, that it continues while he's not here and is helping other people. You know, it really speaks volumes to who that person was. Like, if you can make a mark on the world that continues far after your death, and then it improves other people's lives, that's, you know, you can't get better than that.
Yeah, and you guys are a part of that today. That's what the bus is about, and you know, we're successful with the project because people like yourselves have those feelings, you know, and want to keep it going on. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
So that's it for this edition of At Lennon Bus. You can check out the project that we're working on right now. In a few days we'll have it up online, and just remember to imagine peace.
Peace.
See you later.